Was your bad feelings did they come from a lack of hope for your future? Did you have like a sense of what would make you happy, what you were missing in your life?
No, like it's,
or was it just
the
overwhelming?
mind is, well, and for like, I guess I'm a creative person, I guess you'd say. And so like for creative people in general, life is very imaginative anyway. So like, again, it's like you and I could go to the same restaurant, sit down, order the same meal, have the same waitress, identical everything, right? In a parallel time. And you and I would walk out of that restaurant noticing different things, experiencing it completely different. Like the mind perceives things individually, right? And so like when you get into a bad headspace like that, your perception of what would otherwise be good things can become very bad. And I don't know the best way to explain it, because I'm not well versed on psychology or anything like that. But that's the best way I can explain it, is like you don't understand sometimes what people are going through, even from the outside in. You know, you look at people who are not living life right, and you're like, I just wish he'd just get his shit together. I don't understand why he's doing that. And it's like, because maybe in his head, what he's looking at is totally different than what you're looking at. And the mind's very complicated, you know, and my understanding is, even now with all the studies we've done and the technology we have, like we understand the mind very little, but there's so much that goes into it. And like so much of our thoughts come from our gut biome and all. Like there's millions of living things within us that I think influence the way we think and what we do. And it's a very complicated thing. So yeah, it's easy for people to get off track, and it's hard to get back on the track when you get off. Like it really took. That's why I say, like, I was really just, even though it was on paper, things were great, right? Like I was married, things were like I have a great marriage, I had a good job, like I worked my ass off, but I made good money. And
what were you doing for work?
So the last 6 years I've been in industrial sales. So I worked outside sales for, because I was in the industry, like working factory work when I was younger, had a bad accident, couldn't go back to that job. And then during that recovery period, I went to work. I don't know if I can say the place or not.
You don't have to say the place.
Okay.
What was the accident?
I fell and hit my head.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I had like an internal fracture. I remember riding in the ambulance I'd had seizures and all, and passed out it's weird because I can remember laying there and remember the ambulance and the EMT people coming in, everybody around me talking to me, but like I could hear them, but I was just kind of in a dream. And I do remember waking up in the ambulance on the ride. I remember I had blood coming out of my ear and maybe out of my mouth or my nose, but I remember I had blood I went and reached and I had blood on my face. I was clean shaven then, but and I asked the guy in the back with me in the ambulance, I'm like, man, I was like, am I going to be all right or what? And he's like, buddy, we're doing the best we can. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
And that messed me up pretty bad. I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 2 or 3 days, but even like for the next year after that, my memory was trash. I had really bad balance issues. Like it was difficult for me. It just kind of jacked everything up. I had a lot of inflammation and stuff in my brain, and but that kind of. And I question whether or not that had a lot to do with my mental health issues. Like I've met a lot of people just even I've done 4 shows so far, and they've all been like intimate settings. And so like I've taken hours after each one to talk to everybody, to give everybody a chance to talk. And I've talked to another guy who had a bad head injury and has dealt with something really similar to me. But I almost wonder if that didn't affect, that kind of knocked a few screws loose upstairs with like everything else that's went on. But I tell you, like
So you got depressed after that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Before then I was totally fine. Yeah.
100% they're connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, it might not be the only factor that led you down that road, but 100%. That's a major symptom of fighters. When fighters get knocked out, when football players get knocked out, depression, major symptom. Mm-hmm. Major symptom. That's one of the real dangers of head trauma. There's a lot of people who have had severe head trauma that go to take their own lives afterwards.
Yeah, and looking back, I think that could be a big part of it, because I look back into my 20s and a lot of it was very dark.
And that's after that?
For sure, yeah.
I guarantee you they're connected.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. And I guarantee you, like if you got your system, like if you had really good health care, they could find some issues with your endocrine system. A lot of times with people that have really bad head injuries, their pituitary gland gets damaged. and your body's not producing hormones correctly anymore, and you're just all fucked up. Your cortisol levels are all fucked up.
Yeah, because I would say that was the thing. It was almost like my brain was stuck in like this fight or flight type of thing, and maybe that's what the writing helped, because the writing helped, like, it helped emphasize that more creative part of my brain to get me out of that headspace. But I loved my job I did because I was still in the field, so I was still on job sites and industrial plants and hospitals meeting, and so like I guess the reason I feel like, other than just really divine influence, again, based off of just the experience I've had the last 60 days with my faith and stuff, which is just, and I'd love to touch on that some too.